The Millers had always been a close-knit family. They lived in a quiet, suburban neighborhood where nothing exciting ever happened, until they adopted Max, a scrappy little terrier mix from the local shelter. Max was playful, loyal, and quickly became the center of their world. He slept at the foot of Emily's bed, played fetch with young Tommy in the backyard, and even sat patiently while Mr. Miller scratched behind his ears after a long day at work. But something changed after the storm. It was a humid summer night when the power went out. Thunder rattled the windows, and lightning split the sky like a jagged knife. Max, who usually slept soundly through anything, began to whimper. He paced the house, his nails clicking against the hardwood floors, his ears twitching at sounds no one else could hear. Mrs. Miller tried to calm him, but he growled low in his throat, a sound she'd never heard from him before. The next morning, the storm had passed, but Max was different. He no longer wagged his tail when the family came home. He stopped eating his food, and his eyes, they seemed darker, almost hollow, as if something inside him had been replaced. At first, the Millers brushed it off. "He's just shaken up from the storm," Mr. Miller said. But then the accident started. It was small things at first. Tommy's favorite toy went missing, only to be found shredded in the backyard. Emily woke up with scratches on her arm, though she swore she hadn't been near Max that night. And then there were the noises. Low growls coming from the shadows, even when Max was lying quietly in the living room. One night, Mrs. Miller woke up to the sound of whimpering. She followed it to Tommy's room, where Max was standing over the boy's bed, his teeth bared, his body rigid. Mrs. Miller screamed, and Max bolted out of the room, disappearing into the darkness. The next day, they decided to take Max to the vet. But as they loaded him into the car, he lunged at Mr. Miller, sinking his teeth into his arm. It took all three of them to pry him off. Blood dripped onto the driveway as Max snarled, his eyes wild and unrecognizable. That night, they locked Max in the basement. They couldn't bring themselves to put him down. Not yet. But as they sat in the living room, trying to make sense of what had happened, they heard it. A low, guttural growl. Not from the basement, but from the shadows in the corner of the room. The lights flickered, and for a moment, they saw it. A shape, darker than the darkness, with glowing eyes and teeth like shards of glass. And then, it was gone. The next morning, they found Max lying lifeless in the basement, his body cold and stiff. But the scratches on the walls, the claw marks on the door, they were too big to have been made by a dog. The Millers moved out a week later. They never spoke of Max again. But sometimes, late at night, Tommy would wake up to the sound of whimpering, and Emily would swear she saw something moving in the shadows, its eyes glowing like embers in the dark.